right, we are live. Let's wait for a few folks to jump on before we start chatting. Hey Laura, how are you? Wave at you. Bam. We're just gonna wait for a few folks to jump on, and then we can get started. And thank you all of you for jumping on this live on this beautiful day. Yeah, that is Nola in the background. That is our Carla Rosman painting, who was local. 607 Sweets. How you doing? We're just waiting for a few more folks to jump on, and we're going to get started. Thank you all for logging on. Yeah, Carla's amazing. Laura asked, was that my daughter? And that is, it's a painting of my daughter when she was in newborn. All right, I'm just going to get started. Hopefully Walter jumps on. Thank you all today for logging on. You know, we're trying to do this every week, or at least for the next 3 weeks, where we are interviewing the people that are recipients for the Community Content Fund. And last week we interviewed Louise, and this week we're going to be interviewing Walter Hergt. And it's a pleasure to even be speaking to these folks, because just the fact that they even took the time to write a proposal and submit for the grant is mind-blowing sometimes, just thinking that that was an idea that we had a couple of years ago, and now we're able to actually do that. But, you know, yeah. And before I even start, I also want to tell everyone, if you're not signed up to our newsletter, please sign up to our newsletter. It allows you to, you know, get updates and just see what we're doing. So if you're an email person and you love to receive newsletters, log on to our HUDSY.tv/connect, and there you'll be able to subscribe to. Hold on. Walter is saying he can't get on. Yeah, okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, sign up to our newsletter. Our newsletter allows you to get updates with everything HUDSY. Once again, it's HUDSY.tv/connect. And social media, if you're not following us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, it's at HUDSY TV. Pretty straightforward. And our website, you know, check out our website, HUDSY.tv. It, you know, gives you a better understanding of who we are and what we're trying to do. You know, hopefully the beginning of next year, Q1, we're going to launch our app, which will allow our filmmakers to have a platform to have their content being seen, and allows the community to have something to watch. I am now going to bring in a gentleman that is he is a recipient for the Community Content Fund, and I'm just going to bring him on. Here, just give me 1 second. And bear with me, folks. I'm new at this stuff. So, all right, Walter should be jumping on any second. Wow, Walter, that's quite the background you got there, bud.
Hi, Angel.
How you doing, Walter?
I'm doing just fine. Can you hear me all right?
You sound great. You sound great. For the folks that are just tuning in, this is Walter Hergt. He is a recipient for the Community Content Fund, and I'm going to basically ask him a few questions and also talk about the project that he's working on. So I'm going to start with Walter. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Gladly. I live here in Millerton, New York. I've been over in this area now for getting close to 10 years, I think. I grew up in northern Michigan, lived in Vermont, lived in Berlin, lived in New York City. So I've kind of bounced between big urban spaces and very rural places. And and it's amazing to be in this part of the world right now.
Awesome. One of the questions I've been wanting to ask you is, how long have you been in the filmmaking world?
Mm. Um, Gosh, it's funny to think of myself as in the filmmaking world. I don't know, that's, um, uh, being a visual artist has been a part of my life for quite a long time, and really prioritizing photography, and then ever developing more and more into video, and then that gradually developing into really thinking myself as a filmmaker and moving into that. It's just been a progression, over the years. I spent a long time also as a carpenter, and as a carpenter as a way to support myself, and support myself also doing social justice work. That's been a big part of my life, and in deciding that I really wanted to kind of move on from that as also like a primary piece of work, of income work, I decided, okay, in this next phase, I really wanted to emphasize visual arts, and also telling stories that aren't as often heard, and kind of being on a pathway to explore how to do that in the last 6, 7, 8, 10 years.
That's awesome. And what inspires you as a filmmaker?
Mm. Gosh, others, people who, boy, these are great open-ended questions, Angel. There have been a series of films that I've seen that I think were really just changing and groundbreaking to me. I'm just thinking of Fire at Sea. I'm thinking of documentaries by Kazuhiro Soda. Things that are doing these amazing jobs at telling story, conveying place, where you can feel really inside or along with the folks that are being filmed, without a heavy-handed, this is what's happening, this is how you should feel, this is the message, this is stripped away from that. Obviously, there's so much perspective. Nothing's objective, and it's very engaged. But pieces of work like that, as a form, have been very inspirational to me, and then being around people who are living their lives fully and richly, who aren't, otherwise wouldn't necessarily be held up by the norms and the norms of society. This is what inspires me. These are the people that inspire me, and that I'd also really strive to kind of take my lead from.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, and I guess I'll ask you a question that was asked last week. What is the most challenging part as a filmmaker, at least a freelance filmmaker like yourself?
I mean, everybody will say, making ends meet. And I think that that's really also the case for anybody who's kind of committed to doing artistic work. We do not live in a situation that's particularly supportive of independent artists and freelance filmmakers as well. And there just seems to be a real schism between, those that are making it, and then the largest majority of folks that are doing really amazing work that really struggle to get support or to support themselves. So I think that's a huge part of it. And then I would say too, finding really good collaboration, doing that in ways that don't feel as isolated, and that's really also, my direct experience, like finding the people that you really want to work with. When also like everybody's trying to be as scrappy as possible.
No, I hear that. And what is one of your favorite topics to shoot? Because I see you have like looking at your work,
mm,
you have a certain style and topic that you typically shoot. Um,
mm,
what is your go-to topic when you're shooting?
mm. Um, I would say people that are working with their hands, people that are actively creating, and that can take many different forms. I don't want to be particularly ableist about that, but
Hmm.
there's definitely, also having spent so much of my life also as a carpenter and, um, there, and knowing what that labor and knowing what that effort feels like in my body,
Hmm.
feels like in my hands. I'm very, very drawn to stories of labor, to visuals of people creating and making, and then also in that vein, other artists, and to have a window into process. Um, is endlessly inspirational and interesting to me.
It's amazing, man. And as far as uh, the film that you're making right now, would you like to touch on that? And for those that don't know, Walter Hergt sent us a proposal when we put out our community content fund, and he was our finalist who won. And I'm really excited for him to share what he's going to do and what he is shooting and doing right now. So, yeah, Walter, you'd like to share that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I can't start without saying, just an immense thank you to HUDSY for creating these opportunities,
Hmm.
and for the work that you're doing to open more spaces like this. I feel incredibly lucky to be a grant recipient and to really then be able to spend time at Rocksteady Farm. Rocksteady Farm is a farm also, nearby here in Millerton, New York. Um, it's a CSA mixed vegetable farm that is queer and trans led, um, working towards cooperative ownership, prioritizing POC involvement, team involvement, education and training, and also. They've got a sizable team of really amazing people, and they're making a lot of uh, healthy, wonderful food available also through an access fund to, um, yeah, to really ensure that as many people can receive that food as possible, and wouldn't be, priced out of it as a lot of, higher quality or organic food might be to whole sets of communities.
It's amazing. Yeah, when I first heard of Rocksteady, you know, I think I told you over the phone. We're working on farms right now, we're doing a series, and we're going to all these farms, and it's just amazing the backstory behind all these farms that we're shooting, and Rocksteady in particular. I met actually I know Angela, who used to work there. I don't know if she's not there anymore. But like what drew you to them? Like how did you find out about Rocksteady?
Mm-hmm. I have, I mean, also a lot of luck. Like, their neighbors I've actually known of Rocksteady since before it was Rocksteady. It was the
Hmm.
farm, that it was prior, that then, Maggie and Angela worked at. And then when that farmer wanted to move on, and Dee came into the picture to then take that farm over and create it as to what it is now. So they're in there. Um, yeah, they're finishing their 6th season, and I've been lucky enough to know them since the start of it. Developing relationships with them, also doing some filming projects with them. Some fundraising projects, doing photography with them. So luckily it was a real easy sell, but it was a sell to be able to do this work with them based on years of relationships.
Hmm. Yeah, and from the work that you've been doing, the work that you've done, is there any project that you have worked on that really stands out to you?
Mm. I think, coming into this area and really spending time on farms and really starting to step into the work that has led me to do this piece with Rocksteady, I have to absolutely acknowledge time that I've spent at Chase Holm Farm, which has been an ongoing sort of long-term engagement with them, on and off, and but something that's just incredibly grounding to me, and a big part of my presence here as a documentary maker. I would also say that I'm thinking about a film that I did of a painter, Lois Dixon, last year, and subsequently a short piece on Judy Pfaff, another really incredible artist in this region. Films that I think have really pushed me to be honing my craft and how I'm approaching doing this work, of kind of bringing together an observational form and an oral history approach in the filmmaking that I want to do. And I also then absolutely have to shout out one of the most important sort of training spaces that I've experienced, Oral History Summer School, which is right there in Hudson, New York. The what I've received there in terms of training support has absolutely anchored me, and without a doubt is the core of what's facilitated me to be able to do the work in the way that I'm doing it now.
I was doing some research, and I saw that. Are you attending Duke University right now?
Not attending Duke University, but I'm enrolled in their the certificate program at the Center for Documentary Studies that's housed at Duke. So how exactly their institutional relationship is, I don't know, but yeah, they're housed at Duke, and yeah, I'm a certificate participant there.
And how does that work? Like, what is that? Like, what does that mean? Because I honestly don't know what that actually means.
Yeah, it's an amazing program. I really was looking for kind of a bit of also an educational home, kind of a place to kind of bring together, some training, guidance, community, and support. And attended a documentary intensive there a number of summers ago. And then since then, prior to COVID, even, really focused on doing sort of like online and remote learning and training with them. So they have an amazing certificate program around documentary studies. You can have particular concentrations, filmmaking, audio, and otherwise. And they are really, in the past several years, been doing just, I think, incredible work to be transforming their organization, transforming their curriculum, all under the heading of decolonizing documentary, and decolonizing documentary work, and just an incredibly inspiring place that's been a home to me in a sense.
And you mentioned COVID, which reminds me, like, how did COVID affect your filmmaking?
Well, for quite a while, it dried right up. I think in that time, in those early months, it was looking toward being a busy spring, and then a lot of work and intention just sort of had to, disappeared. I mean, disappeared in a time where there was a lot of uncertainty, a lot of concern, and a lot of death, and so, like, rightly, there was a time to just quiet down, and then gradually, we were all trying to figure out, how do we start navigating? How do we start living our lives in this new pandemic, and which is becoming increasingly endemic? I had a really lucky connection and with a person, Pamela Salisbury, in Hudson. We'd been talking about doing some portraits of artists, and when that didn't seem attainable, we talked about doing a piece with her mom, and so we were really cautious about how we did that, and I essentially quarantined for 2 weeks, and had support to be able to do that from
Awesome.
people that I live with and around, to then be able to spend a day with this incredible person, Lois Dixon, and that then became a huge editing piece, and really became sort of a pathway, a view for me to do work and to kind of start to evolve through this period of time of COVID.
It's amazing. Well, so Walter, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I appreciate you for, being who you are and the talent you are. I'm excited with the project that you're working on. For those that are just coming on, Walter Hergt is one of the recipients for the Community Content Fund. We will most likely premiere that first quarter of next year, which is exciting. And Walter, man, once again, it was a pleasure speaking with you. I apologize if I'm new to this, so all those that are watching, bear with me. And also, I'd just like to say tonight we're going to be at the Rosendale Theater at 6:30. We're going to be premiering an awesome film. It's actually called Artists in a Field, and it's by a local filmmaker by the name of Lucas McGowan, I believe is his last name. He's a good friend, and super excited for all of you that are watching that are doing nothing today to come on by, and it's going to be free. That's going to be 6:30 p.m. at the Rosendale Theater. Walter, thank you so much. Really appreciate you. And I look forward to seeing your film, and looking to collaborate in the future as well. So, folks, I'm going to end this by saying shop local and watch local. And see you all soon. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. And once again, for those that are not following us on our newsletter, jump on that at HUDSY.TV/connect. And if you're not following us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, it's at HUDSY TV. All right, folks. Thank you, Walter. Thank you. And I'll see you all soon.
Thank you so much, Angel.
Thank you.
All right. Bye now.